Okay, let's go straight back to Athens now, where we're joined by our Europe correspondent, Emma Alberici. Emma, good morning. It's been a fairly hairy day there in the Greek capital. Has the situation calmed down any?
Well, it did calm down for a few hours, but just in the last few minutes it's flared again, with protesters hurling pieces of rock and marble at the police that are guarding the parliament, and in return we've had canisters of tear gas again fired into the crowds, and we can feel again the waft of the gas climbing up here, and we're on the 7th floor. We can already start to feel it again. And to give you some sense of the events here, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm estimating that there are at least 20,000 people below here in Syntagma Square, and variously it's kind of surreal because one part of the square down here seems to be in a kind of carnival atmosphere with music and dancing, and then on the other side of me where the parliament is, I can see the waft of smoke coming up from the tear gas. So really odd scenes down here tonight, and it's only likely to get worse because, of course, the official vote, you can hear those canisters of tear gas going off behind me, the vote over these harsh austerity measures doesn't take place for another 15 hours or so. So it's likely that it's going to get worse before it gets any better here.
And as we speak to you, Emma, we are seeing live pictures on the streets below you in Athens. What's the mix of the crowd there? Obviously there are public servants and the like very uneasy about these spending cuts, these looming spending cuts, but I also assume there's an element of people simply wanting to make trouble there too.
Indeed, quite a few anarchists, as of course we know them as, people who came prepared. I saw people earlier in the day pulling picks and axes out of their backpacks and hacking into pieces of the square, the surrounding fences made of marble. They were hacking in to grab pieces of marble and hurl those at police. They were well prepared. They had masks and eye masks as well as face masks. They were prepared for all contingencies and knew full well how the police would likely react with tear gas and pepper sprays, but that wasn't going to deter them. It certainly hasn't diminished the numbers in the square, which are still numbering at least 20,000, I'd say possibly even more than that. It's quite crowded down there. You might also be able to see the lasers, the green lasers that are being directed up here and also at the Parliament building, because it's a mix. Even though this is going on and I'm being able now to feel the gas coming up here, they don't like the broadcasters because on the one hand they're very angry with the politicians, on the other hand they don't particularly want us beaming these pictures back around the world and giving them a bad reputation. So it's quite ugly out here now, I have to say.
Has there been any attempt, Emma, by the Prime Minister, Mr Papandreou, or any other figure in the government for that matter, to try to calm the situation down there?
Not particularly, because they've been locked in a debate. All 300 MPs are preparing to vote. You can hear the crowd's getting much more vocal down below me, but the MPs have been locked in a debate about these austerity measures, and of course at the same time the European Finance Commissioner Olli Rehn came out very stridently today to send a message to not only the Greek Parliament but also the Greek people that there is no plan B, that if they don't pass these austerity measures, these spending cuts, 150,000 job losses in the public sector as well as salary cuts, if those measures are not passed by the Parliament within the next day or so, then there is no plan B and Greece will be forced to declare bankruptcy. So the Parliament here is really caught in a very difficult bind, because the people out here are saying if democracy is really supposed to work, then they should have gone to the people rather than to the European Union to make a decision about the kind of harsh economic medicine they were going to be prescribing for the people. And yet the people here really believe they've not been consulted through this process, and that they're having these measures forced on them by stealth.
Emma Alberici, still obviously a very tense situation there in Athens. Thank you very much for the update.